Hello and welcome back to RSMC Pack. I reloaded the game. This is recorded on the same day as previous episode, which means if I didn't take any advice from the previous episode's comments, in this episode, you know exactly why. It's because I double up my episodes. Okay, so last time on RSMC Pack, we built a staircase and a bridge, and then another staircase. How intense. But you know what? Not intense enough for us. That's correct. We are not satisfied with this. This is not satisfying. Look at this. You think this is good? No, we want to build roads like the Romans. That's right. We're going to get that volcanic rock and build the Appian Way all the way to Rome. And that's where the road will lead to. And then we'll have another road leading somewhere else. Because you know what? Not all roads lead to Rome. It's a objectively true fact. Have you ever seen a road that didn't lead to Rome? I bet you probably have. And if you haven't, well, my goodness, maybe you should go out and live a bit. See, take a look at a map that doesn't have Rome on it, and you'll be, as long as it has roads on it, you will be sure to find a road that goes somewhere that isn't Rome. And then, what are you going to do? Because if all roads did lead to Rome, let's just think about this logically. If all roads actually led to Rome, wouldn't that mean that anytime anybody ever went on a road, they'd always be getting closer to Rome and ever farther away, which would mean that Rome would be just this massively overcrowded city. Anybody who ever went to Rome would never be able to leave. That's actually a good idea for a novel. In a world where everybody goes to one town and never leaves. It's just this massive metropolis where, you're thinking, well, I want to go back to the countryside to visit my family. No, you can't. You can't. Not because there's a barrier, not because you physically aren't able to. You just can't. It's just not in the rules of the universe for you to be able to do that. It's impossible. And you know what you're going to do about it? Nothing. There's nothing you can do about that. So that you just have to deal with it. You have to cope. Because if you don't cope, well, what's going to happen to you? You might die. Wait, what? You might die? What from? Who knows? Maybe potatoes? Or perhaps a pear. That's correct. Things are going a bit pear-shaped. What? Wait, that wasn't a quote? Oh, wait, no, yes, it was a quote. But if I did quote, then did someone quote me? And if someone quoted me, then did they attribute it properly to me? Because if this person did not attribute the quote properly to me, I might be slightly upset that somebody else is taking credit for the words that come out of my mouth. I'm not saying that you can't just randomly say something. I'm saying that when you say something and you say it, and then you say, well, these are my own words, you know. These are the great things that I, Bob Bobsled said over at Minecon Pyongyang in 1957, and to Frederick the Great, who was in a wheelchair at the time. And then I walk into the room and everybody's talking about it, and then I say, well, wait guys, isn't this the thing that I said just this year? And then they say to me, well, no, it's have you ever been in Pyongyang? I answer no. And then they say, well, then you obviously didn't say these things because you've never been to Pyongyang. How could you possibly say it if you've never been? And then I said, well, these things weren't actually ever said in Pyongyang. As a matter of fact, nobody ever has said these things in Pyongyang. Where are you getting this idea from? Who is feeding you these lies? Then they get really offended at me. They say, sir, we're going to have to ask you to refrain from bashing our quote master here. Look at that. He's like Bruce Lee of quotes. He is Mother Teresa rolled in together with Adolf Hitler. And you know what? You have to give some respect. And then I say, what? Why would I respect that? What does Bruce Lee have to do with Mother Teresa and Adolf Hitler together? How is that respectable? Other than obviously the regular respect that you give to people, because let's be honest, Hitler did some bad things. Of course, I'm going to, if Hitler were alive today and he still had done all these bad things, but I were to somehow meet Hitler in a non-military fashion, as in I'm not a soldier rushing in to kill Hitler, but just some random guy on the street, I'm not going to beat him up, because that's not nice. It's not a nice thing to do. Of course, if I were a soldier coming to kill him, I would obviously pull the trigger on him. But other than that, it's out of place. Now, of course, it all depends. As in, if that's saying that if Hitler isn't in power. But if he is in power, okay, I'm getting really confused now. My own words are confusing me. So I take back everything that I just said, and let me rework it from the start. Okay, Adolf Hitler. If he were alive today, but not actually in power, as in not actually killing people right this moment, which means he isn't actually a threat at the moment, I'm not going to go around and kill Hitler simply because of the laws, because it's not my place to take the place of the law. The law has to deal with that, and you know what? I'm not the law. Judge Dredd is the law, and you gotta respect the Dredd, you know? Respect the Dredd. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to criticize him for the things that he's done. I just think I have to respect everyone as a human being, regardless of who this person is. And I think that's a great way to live, because that means you're never going to be a bigot if you respect everyone regardless of who they are, even if it's because that's how people can actually become bigots, is they start disrespecting certain people because of maybe what they've done, and then they begin stereotyping onto others who are similar to those people, and then that turns into bigotry, and I don't want that. So just respect everyone, and that's how you live life. That's how I live life. But maybe not everyone likes to live that way. Maybe some people want to disrespect other people, but not my style. Not my style. Not my style. There we go. Let's make sure that before we get too low to place torches, nothing is ever going to spawn up there. It's also going to be a great beacon from the distance. Of course, render distance. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see that very well unless it's night, in which case still it isn't the best viewpoint. But anyway, look at this flattened out area. Great place to build a building if I ever said so, which I haven't until just now, in which I did say. And if I hadn't said it, then maybe I should have said it. But I guess that's just the way the dice rolls, the way the roadblock falls. Can this support me? Can it support me? Ah, it can support me. It's a Christmas miracle, even though it's not Christmas. Okay, speaking of Christmas, that's actually an interesting topic. Santa Claus. Some people, hopefully, actually, I'm not going to, yeah, I'm going to. I'm not going to lie to children. That's what I'm saying. And I am going to expose children to the truth on this matter. And that is that there is actually not a stranger barging into your home in the middle of the night to give you gifts on a global basis, because there might be a stranger barging into your home in the middle of the night to give you gifts. But I don't think that this is happening on a global basis of some guy who is commonly referred to as Saint Nicholas. This is not happening. It's usually just your parents or some other relative who is being friendly to you. You know what? Being friendly, that's a great thing. But you know what? Give credit where credit is due. Imagine the bond that these people would build when, instead of lying to their children, they actually admitted that, you know what, we give you these gifts because we love you, son or daughter, or intersex child, usually because of a deformation in some sort. Oh, looks like somebody died. Well, maybe oh, suicide. Wow, that's grim. That's grim for a children's game. That's right, Notch. I'm calling you out. Notch. Sending your certificates to suicide out of windows. Who do you think you are? Oh wait, I think I just opened a can of worms on a brand spanking new conspiracy theory. And what is this theory? Notch. Good old Marcus over there. He made the Squidward suicide video. That's right. Nickelodeon hired him onto the guys that make SpongeBob SquarePants, and he made the Squidward suicide video that is so infamous on the creepypastas. And you know what? Did he enjoy it? Who knows? That is what we are finding out today on absurd conspiracy theories that have no evidence but were made up anyway. Speaking of absurd things, one interesting thing is that Ancient Aliens, it's a TV show in the US and possibly other places where some guys from the History Channel go around and okay, good. I hit the right button this time. They go around and they look at ancient buildings or similar things, and I might not be able to do this. There might be cave spiders, which I cannot deal with. They look at ancient sites where there are ancient buildings, of course. Well, not necessarily ancient, but just buildings and various things. And they then say that, no, the humans couldn't have built these buildings. It's obviously ancient aliens. And then they have some supposed expert that talks about how the people didn't have the tools for this. And then you actually do the research and you find out that just on the same archaeological site, they actually found the tools that people would have had to build this, or a half-built segment of whatever it is that they were building that shows exactly how they built this. And these ancient aliens guys, they just don't even bother to mention that. That actually happens. That there is actually evidence as to how these things were built. And that the ancient Iron Age, Bronze Age, Stone Age guys, they weren't stupid. They just didn't have as many shoulders to build on, as it is said. They didn't build on the shoulders of giants. They had to build their civilization from the ground up. And yeah, they didn't have our today's electrical infrastructure. They didn't have fields and fields of maize. They didn't have cell phones. They had to deal with explosives not existing. You know, no TNT. So can't just blow up a hole in the mountain. You have to dig it by hand. Or hope that an earthquake opens something up. But that's never I don't think that's ever a building technique there where somebody says, well, to complete our project, we just have to wait for an earthquake. Nobody ever says that. Let's be honest, that is not something that happens. Nobody ever does that. If someone has ever done that, then I am highly skeptical of it. Skepticism is at level 9,000 and rising. Oops, it's just gone over 9,000. Nobody goes around and says that. But anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. But anyway, you see all these ancient civilizations having stuff like indoor plumbing. Not all of them, but some of them. And the ability to have some underwater cement, which is an interesting thing. It's just all these different things that the guys on Ancient Aliens just write off as, no, they don't do that. They're dumb. Or people saying, well, you look at all ancient philosophers, look at these Iron Age peasants. Yeah, that's right, Iron Age peasants. And then I'm thinking, Iron Age peasants poisoning the well much? Just because you don't have technology doesn't mean you're stupid. That's literally true. Just because you don't have tech doesn't mean you're a dumb guy. Oh, I actually need to buy a pickaxe. That's actually what I need to do, buy a pickaxe. Alright, let's go to the shop. Let's go to the shop. And after we've gone to a shop... Oh, lag? Oh,
Maybe the game's crashing.
Okay, good. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Oh, now I took some damage. Always gotta be careful. Never want to stub your toe when you're jumping into a pool. Jump into a pool and your toe hits the edge of a pool as you're jumping in. But of course the rest of your body goes in, but that just brief moment, that's painful. I don't think it's actually happened to me, but I am very good at imagining things. And you know what? I can feel it right now. Not physically, but in my mind. That's right. I have the ability to imagine things. And that is how empathy works. That is how compassion works. You see the pain other people go through, and you put yourself in their shoes. You look at them and ask yourself, what if that happened to me? How would I feel? Or how are they feeling? Just take the signs. Take in the signs. Look at... Whoa. Someone... They always just jump to their deaths. This is not okay. Okay, I'm looking for a regular shop guy. Some regular merchant. Weaponsmith, banker. That's it with the merchants, isn't it? They're always around when nobody wants them. They're always there. They're going around and they're telemarketing. They're calling you on your phone. They're calling your nan on the phone. They're calling your elderly relatives on the phone because they think that your elderly relatives are stupid. That is literally why they call the elderly more than the young people. It's because they think, oh yeah, the elderly people, they're going to buy all this stuff. That's right, we're going to persuade them because they're confused, and that's not a nice way to treat the elderly. Because you know what, they aren't all confused. Some of them are, but not all of them. And there's a lot of them that have a lot to do. Look at that. Guy from another mod that his functions don't work in this mod. But the other mod adds a few more buildings to villages. So it is... Oh, there's the merchants. There they are. Roaming around. Yep. There we go. Wood chips. Ah, lovely. What would you do if you... What would you do for a wood chip? chip. And if you didn't do a wood chip, then what would you do? That's right, make some wood chips today, lads. Get yourself a knife, a saw, something else, a wood chipper, and make some wood chips. And you know what to do with those wood chips after you've made them? I don't know. It's a mystery to me, wood chips. You never really know what to do with them. Because if you did know, well then, maybe somebody has a few things to answer for. And making wood chips is not the simplest thing in the world. But it's also not the most complicated. But anyway, it's getting late in game, so I think I'll call it a day for the episode. And remember to give some topics for me to discuss next time. Adultos, over and out.